Hello miners, this is part 2 of my Civivi Anthropos, and in this one we get to see the Plethoros again. So these are the two knives from Civivi that came out several years ago, and at the time were probably the cat's meow, as I like to say. And with the cat's meow we got an awesome designer, and then at the time they were considered with D2 was what everybody was looking for, and putting carbon fiber on it and just the overall design, they were just kind of real popular that way. Today, we're all wanting 14C or something a little bit more. We're like in the $70 range, and thank goodness you can get a knife similar to this today for even $35. It wouldn't be a Civivi, but D2 and G10, there's some pretty decent ones Civivi in that $35 range. So a couple of differences. Well, the ergos are different, but he does allow for a move up on both of them, where the flipper tab disappears and the flipper tabs look the same. This one it locks you in more. Can't explain it, but this is the furthest most backwards position. It's not like you can grab this here very effectively. With the Plethoros, you do have the ability to move up and down the handle. This one locks you in right there, and very similar that way. As far as blade shapes, you can see the same design language. He added the top swedge on there. They're very competitive in grinds. And the Plethoros is going to have probably a longer cutting edge, and this one has more belly, which actually, despite the extra blade length here, does allow for a nice cutting edge. So when we're talking about the cutting edge, we're just talking about the part that has a sharpened edge on it. And you see that extra belly, see, we can roll more right there and get cutting edge, but that's what they look like next to each other. So in the video on this, the comparison knife I used was the cut jack. So we'll bring that out just real quick. And not that I like green handled knives, that just seems to be what I get. So the cut jack was also a popular knife, sold for about $50. I think I paid $30 for the one I'm displaying here, but they're both D2 steel. This one has a finger choil, so if we go to sharpen edge, that's Civivi for the wind, and blade stock thickness is about the same, and handle also about the same. What's the width on these? Okay, and the Anthropos has a G10 backspacer, which I didn't display. Despite the gripe about the Civivi pocket clips, at least it's more of a deep carry. And secondly, this one doesn't carry that well just because of the texture of the handle. And this one's running on bearings, and this one's on washers. So you get a little bit more snap, if you will. So taking a look at those. Now, for the comparison, I'm going to compare Plethoros to the Praxis. Really not much of a comparison. For a lot of people, a lot of Civivi Praxis is one of Civivi's most iconic knives. I would say now that the years have passed, I would say they've probably sold more Praxises. They've been selling them for a long time. It's 9 CR, 18 MOV blade steel. They come in a variety of color or options. What would we have? G10, we have micarta, we have wood. I'm sure they've sold maybe copper. They've sold it in Damascus. Just a big, big knife. Has some jimping here. But my experience with it is just fantastic cutting geometry. Okay, and we'll see. Now, of course, you want to run away, huh? We'll catch up to you. Of course, the sharpened edge does help, but these are some sharp knives, and these are from the factory. So, EDC, what's the comparison? Okay, a lot like the Anthropos. This is extremely thin throughout the blade. Yeah, there's a spine, but it's got a high flat grind, and it's just so thin. Again, I'm afraid as EDC purposes for what I would like to do. I want something in my pocket that if I want to shave a twig off of a branch, if I want to snap a strap off of a pallet. And this is the one that's going to be a better choice for ADC. So take a peek here. I'm going to try to line up cutting edge to cutting edge, and I'll show you another thing that's impressive, and that's the handle length. So I would say that this Plethros gives this Praxis a good run for its money on blade length. Even if I go pivot to pivot, it's still competing, and yet it still has less handle length. However, Praxis has this one beat on action. In all fairness, I haven't taken this apart or oiled it. However, I haven't done that to this either. So, just a couple that are worthy for your collection and possibly a user for you. Either one of them you can certainly carry. Let's get all these out here. Like I said, green's not necessarily my favorite colors. That was the only color this was available in. That maybe the cheapest one. And this was the only color. Could have went with black actually, black on black. And I do have a gray with a black blade cut jack that I'm keeping. All right, guys. Thanks for watching The Miner.